Hello, beautiful people. It's Sindafam. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to be checking this video together. Let's check it out.
Harry and Meghan take their audience for fools. They blame everybody but themselves. They present even the most incendiary of claims with no evidence. And sadly, the impact is real. The royal family is getting damaged. The monarchy is getting tarnished. Prince Harry surely is now a traitor to the country that he once served.
Okay.
Halfway Harry and Meghan Markle touched down in Germany today after a whistle-stop tour of the UK, in which they didn't find time to meet any of their family, who all hate them because they hate them. They did meet a lot of strangers, of course, and Meghan was supposed to be lecturing young people about equality, which is her favourite subject from her Californian mansion. But instead, she stuck to her specialist subject, the one she currently really loves, which is talking about herself.
I'm so grateful to be in your company today. I was first invited to be a counselor at One Young World. I was probably a lot like each of you. How am I here? And there I was the girl from Suits. And I was surrounded by world leaders. I was so overwhelmed by this experience. I think I even saved my little paper place card. Proof that I was there. I belonged. I was so nervous. I doubted myself, and I wondered if I was good enough to even be there, if what I was doing in the world, albeit important and meaningful as far as I saw it, was it deserving? One Young World saw in me, just as I see in you. My life had changed rather significantly, and I was now a mom. And I would ask, what is this world he would come to adopt? And what can we do? What can I do to make it better?
Before Piers says he's on this, your life is good. Yes, you married a prince. You met Prince Charming. You freaking married a prince from a well-respected family. Why wouldn't your life be good, be okay? Why wouldn't it be? You're getting called to the table, you're getting a seat on the table or some tables because you got married into the freaking respected royal family. You met Prince Charming. Princess Cinderella finally met Prince Charming. Why wouldn't your life be good? Make it make sense.
I don't know. What could you do to make it better? You're just so special. And how did you get to sit at the top table with all the world leaders, Meghan? Oh, could it be because you married a British prince and then dragged him out of his country off to your California mansion to fleece your royal titles? Anyway, 54 times she mentioned herself in a 7-minute speech. Even I haven't done that in a speech. That gives you some idea of the scale of the Netflix narcissist. My question really is, how can they be allowed to do this? To run around like a rival royal family, including in this country, a country they've been trashing, with a monarchy they've been trashing, with a royal family they've been trashing. Why do we let this happen?
When people like Meghan Markle are held up as you say, the standard bearers of feminism and, you know, social justice, ridiculous, because she is obviously so far removed from the concerns and troubles of the vast majority of women, and this idea that we have now among, you know, certain parts of the liberal, by the way, not left or socialist, liberal elements of politics, is that, you know, we need, you know, rich women to like lean in and give inspirational speeches and kind of show everyone else how to be. But ultimately, it's just the same part of this like weird cult of celebrity that distracts people from the real issues that are affecting their lives.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't agree
I'm
more.
a Republican. I don't care.
Fascinating.
Absolutely true. The public life, or rather the celebrity lifestyle, they use it to distract real issues that, I mean, is affecting people. The role model. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. If this is the kind of person you think or pick as the role model, okay, maybe the meeting the prince part. But if out of all of the problems that you have, if this is the kind of life or person you embody to be a role model based on everything that you've had or been going on and all of that as a role model, You know where your problem starts from. You know. Out of all of the problems you have in your life, you know where your root problem came from. I don't need to remind you.
Piece in the New York Times has just come out. Headlined, has Prince Harry's confessional tour run its course? Even in the United States, the New York Times says, which has a high tolerance for redemptive stories about overcoming trauma and family dysfunction, the tide seems to be turning. It's one thing to be criticised, it's another to be openly ridiculed. That's pretty heavy coming from the New York Times.
It is, because they would be very much on Harry and Meghan's side. But one does sense that, well, there's still, quite a strong bedrock of opinion in favour of them, that they are less popular than they were over here. And, there's only so much moaning that you can put up with, isn't there?
Right. Given they've caused so much damage to the institutional reputation of the monarchy, why would they want to be a coronation of a new monarch?
Given the fact that they have raised difficulties that they have had...
Well, they said the royals were racist, then said we didn't mean to say they were racist.
That's what we're talking about, the problems that they have raised. Let's be clear about that.
They lied.
And the problems that they have raised are really serious issues.
They lied.
Mental health issues, issues around domestic abuse, issues around race and colour and prejudice.
Why do you believe them?
But it's not about whether I believe them.
Why?
It's not about whether I believe them.
Without any proof.
What it's about is that they think it's true. And what you need to understand is...
No, of course it's not, Paula.
It's
got nothing to do with whether they think it's true.
Something's either true or it's not.
Thank you, Anne Widdecombe.
Before we go on, I love what she said. They think it is true. They think it is true. I love that part.
It's
Paula,
a family.
It's got nothing to do with whether they think it's true.
Something's either true or it's not.
Thank you, Anne Widdecombe.
True or not.
If that was the case, then I wouldn't be in a job.
What?
The fact is, your truth may not be my truth.
No, there's only the truth.
How you
I may
define
Paula, there is no my truth.
The way
Your
that
You
truth.
and I
define issues.
you and I may
We can
interpret
sit
things
and
differently,
exactly.
but there is
We
a
can sit
factual
and
Sorry,
truth.
Paula,
this wall
Paula,
fact, and it
Paula.
will be very different to the two of us. That doesn't mean
I'm
that
here.
either of us are wrong.
Hello?
I know, and I'm choosing to ignore
My
you.
show. It's my show, and I'll cut off your mic in a minute. Here's the bottom line. There is no my truth, your truth. There is the truth.
One truth.
And you know what really got my goat about those two? Was the two most damaging things they said in that first Oprah wine-a-thon were that the royals have been racist to them, about the skin colour of their son, and that secondly, Meghan Markle had gone to a senior palace person who had banned her from getting help for her suicidal thoughts. Neither of those things appear in his book. He's already reined back now on the racism charge, said that's not what he meant, when we all know that's exactly what they meant. They said it. We watched them say it. And secondly, Richard, on the mental health thing, again, a very big weapon to hurl at the palace, that they were callous about her suicidal thoughts. Not a word has been mentioned since. Nothing in the Netflix documentary, nothing in the book. I don't think it happened. Harry and Meghan, currently the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, famously gushed about their love of chickens in one of the more saccharine moments of their Oprah Winfrey sobfest. Well, the chickens are now coming home to roost for these two. The royal family kept a stoic silence as the poison darts rained down from their Californian pedestal. But King Charles is quietly and devastatingly taking charge now. We now know that he booted the couple out of their palatial Frogmore cottage just 24 hours after Harry's book Spare, or Spare Me as I call it, was published. We also now know that Harry and Meghan's popularity is cratered on both sides of the Atlantic, with polls showing even Prince Andrew is now more popular than they are in America, as well as now being offered the keys to their house. And we also now know that in America, where they've strained every sinew to become much-loved celebrities, they're actually viewed like this.
So let me start with you, Sam. You've lived a life with the royal family, you've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Win. Yes, that's right, friend. You see, my wife and I are totally like, you should write a book because your family like stupid, and then so are like journalists.
There's now a clear divide in the royal family, the workers and the shirkers, the heavy lifters and the grifters. The Prince and Princess of Wales saluted Welsh Guards yesterday at St David's Day Parade. Camilla, the Queen Consort, recovering from a recent bout of COVID, was promoting children's literature. King Charles is preparing to make state visits to Germany and France in his first royal tour as monarch. Meghan Markle, meanwhile, made a state visit to a coffee shop which sells superfood lattes inspired by holistic ingredients from around the world. And Prince Harry had another outing on US late-night television, the leftovers of a previous interview taped on his self-pity tour.
Harry, what is the best sandwich?
I would say a cheese and ham toastie with Dijon mustard on top.
And a toastie means grilled? Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Unbelievable. Reviews for...
The sad part is people would believe them or choose to believe them when they play the victim. That is the sad part. Because if you talk about it and you raise your questions or your concerns, there is something wrong with you, because how dare you not believe somebody who raised concerns or who had their thoughts and all of that? Because really, the book itself, everything, because I thought they wanted to be honest. They should have written everything as they even threw every other person, innocent people, under the bus. They could have written about all of those things. But they chose which side to publish and which side to omit. Is that not shocking and surprising to you? But no, people will ignore it. Because people are made to believe or meant to believe when a victim cries, and people will choose who to be victims and believe the victims and choose who to be oppressed, because obviously, no. Long history of who the oppressors are. Long history of who the victim is. So believe the victim. The victim is the one telling you the truth. Just imagine the royal family. They've not even made anything, like to say anything, to say, oh, this is not true, this is true, and this is what. That speaks so much volume. What is there to say? People rather choose to believe who they want to believe. What do you think?
Harry and Meghan's big budget Netflix series have so far been less than kind. Unimaginative and frustrating, said Hollywood's Bible, Variety magazine. So sickening, I almost brought up my breakfast, said the woke Bible, The Guardian. Or the intimacy of Instagram, sneered the normally timid New York Times. Prince Harry mauls his own brother. He accuses his father, the new king, of being a liar. Even has a dig at his late great-grandmother, the Queen, for standing by and doing nothing. The royal family is directly accused of destroying two of its own to protect itself. And I don't know where it all stops, all this. Where does it end? We've got the book, and then we've got the interview circuit, and so it goes on. It's all apparently a dark plot by Britain and the royals to smear the poor, defenceless, vulnerable Sussexes. Trickery, treachery, hypocrisy. And if there's one conclusion to draw from the final instalment of their Netflix series, it's that Prince Harry surely is now a traitor to the country that he once served.
William and I both saw what happened in our dad's office, and we made an agreement that we would never let that happen to our office. And to see my brother's office copy the very same thing that we promised the two of us would never ever do, that was heartbreaking. It was terrifying to have my brother scream and shout at me, and my father say things that just simply weren't true, and my grandmother, quietly sit there and sort of take it all in. They were happy.
But you wrote about your family without caring about how they felt, or you wanted them to care about how you felt. You did not care about how they felt. Make it make sense. Not one, not two, not three. If you read that book, going through the book, imagine how many people he did not care about their feelings, but he expects everybody to care about his own feelings. It's about me. Care about my feelings rather than ignore your feelings. What word do you have for that person or that type of person?
Sort of take it all in. They were happy to lie to protect my brother. And yet, for 3 years, they were never willing to tell the truth to protect us.
Unbelievable. This blistering attack, not only on the institution of the monarchy, but also personally against the senior royals who represent our country around the world, is, in my view, beyond contempt. In their selfish, vapid attempts to rewrite history, recasting themselves as victims, these two have sold their souls, and they've sold Harry's family down the river. It's unforgivable, and it will leave a bitter taste in the mouths of millions of people. We also learned that Harry can't begin to understand why people might prefer Catherine, the Princess of Wales, who, of course, never complains, never explains, and just does her duty.
This is how it was covered for her. This is how it was covered for her. If you don't see the difference and understand why it's being reported that way, or why, then I can't help you. I can't. I'm sorry. I just can't.
I mean, you sound like a blithering lunatic. Don't you, Harry? I can't help you. Really? Well, let me help you. There were a gazillion critical stories about Kate long before your beloved Meghan came along. It had nothing to do with Kate's skin colour, and the Meghan criticism had nothing to do with her skin colour. At all. Nothing to do with it. She just started doing things along with you which were rankly hypocritical and in some cases downright unpleasant, and you both got called out for it, and you don't like being criticised. You think if anyone criticises you, they're automatically bullies and racists. But they're not. In fact, one of the people who's been accused of bullying is Meghan Markle by several of her PAs at the palace who had to sign NDAs so they couldn't tell the truth. I'm sure that Meghan Markle and Harry, who want the truth to come out, would like those NDAs to be lifted, and maybe they should say so publicly. So we can hear from those PAs, who I know at least one of them was regularly reduced to tears by the bullying from Meghan Markle. And if Meghan doesn't think she did bully, of course she can sue me, because I've said it now. So come and sue me, and let's take it to court. All of this leaves a deeply unpleasant taste in the mouth, doesn't it? And again, I say simply, where does it end? How much damage do they want to cause? They can't be allowed back to any royal events because they'll probably be wired up and taped for the next series of their thrilling life story. So what do? What does King Charles do about his own son? Does he cut him off? Does he strip him of his titles? This is his son. It's a Shakespearean tragedy unfurling. And I'm afraid when it comes to help, I think Prince Harry might be beyond it. He's been manipulated, and I think partly it's down to him as well, into believing they're genuine freedom fighters.
To see this institutional gaslighting that happens is extraordinary. And that's why everything that's happened to us was always going to happen to us, because if you speak truth to power, that's how they respond.
Truth to power? What are you talking about? You're Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, once third in line to the throne. It doesn't get a lot more powerful than you. Before you decamped for your freedom, before you gave up any royal duty, but wanted to have your royal cake and eat it by keeping your titles so you could exploit them.
He's a prince. He's a prince. Like every time I hear him talk or try to be the victim, he's a prince. A prince. What does he really want? Why do this to your family? A prince.
Make gazillions of dollars in America to the highest bidder. And what do for that money? You trash your family endlessly. And you're going to keep doing it, as does your wife, who trashes her own family, most of whom she's disowned. Is this what happiness looks like, Harry? Really? You're happy? Hating your entire family? Your wife hating all hers, apart from her mother? Like many of the claims in the series, none of this stacks up, does it? There were the claims of racism at the palace, but no evidence of who that person was or what they actually said. Apparently, Meghan, she repeated this in this new instalment, was banned by somebody at the palace from seeking help for her suicidal thoughts. Think about that for a moment. Who was that person? Are they still working at the palace? Does that person exist? Did somebody actually say to her, you might be feeling suicidal, but it's bad for the brand, you can't get help? And if they did, where was her husband in all this? Where was Prince Harry? Mr. Mental Health. He never stops banging on about it and about the need to get help. And yet when his own wife apparently had suicidal thoughts, he didn't get her help. Does that make any sense? Does that sound even remotely plausible to you? Because it doesn't to me. So that's where we are. Another tissue of self-serving lies, mostly. I suspect, we don't know yet, but most of it looks like the Oprah interview, just another load of unsubstantiated smears designed to portray them as victims. But it doesn't really pass the muster of fact-checking. 1 minute they're the beloved young couple who inspired a nation, the next that nation is horribly racist, out to throw Meghan to the wolves from the very beginning. The attacks on the press were so wicked that she was hated and feared for her life. But also the entire plot against them was because they were simply too popular. So they were hated and despised and too popular. And this was all apparently a heroic fight for family privacy, but we have to learn about that fight in a $100 million reality TV show that flaunts their young family and boasts about their very public social justice campaigns. Harry and Meghan take their audience for fools. They blame everybody but themselves. They present even the most incendiary of claims with no evidence. And sadly, the impact is real. The royal family is getting damaged. The monarchy is getting tarnished. People are believing, including Beyonce, it appeared from this series. They're believing that the royal family are a bunch of callous racists. Well, they're not. I know the royal family, a lot of them well. And they're not callous racists. And they're furious about this, and they're right to be furious. Well, you may recall that Harry and Meghan, the favourite friends of this show, have spent years trashing the royals as a bunch of cruel, privileged racists trapped in a terrible prison of an institution. So imagine our surprise when a spokesperson for the couple confirmed via People magazine that Princess Lilibet Diana had been christened. Why would they use a title for their children that represents an institution they loathe so much? Well, joining me now to discuss all this is author and historian Tessa Dunlop, royal editor of the Daily Mirror, Russell Myers, and Michael Cole's remain with, because, of course, he was the BBC's voice of royalty for 2 decades, as he reminded us. All right, Russell Myers, I don't get this.
No.
Because I was sure that they kept telling the world how ghastly the monarchy is. It's a prison camp. All the royals want to get away from it, but they can't because they're trapped in the world of titles and privilege. And now they want to give their kids the titles of prince and princess, even though they don't live anywhere near the royal family. They don't do any duties. They do nothing to deserve it. They live in a mansion in Montecito in California and use their own royal titles to make loads of money, which may be the clue to why they want their kids to have them.
Yeah, I think you pretty much summed it up for a lot of people. They're seeing this hypocrisy being played out. It's like a soap opera, isn't it? That something out of an EastEnders script. And Harry and Meghan have made an awful lot of money and an awful lot of noise over the last couple of years by telling everybody how awful the monarchy is, and the monarchy that they left behind. Indeed, Harry and Meghan wanted half in, half out model. The Queen said that they couldn't, and so it's very, very surprising that they should want this.
Well, you say surprising. I would say, Tessa Dunlop, rank hypocrisy yet again from these two.
Russell's so polite. First time on the show agreeing with you. You wait, he'll turn the screws in a minute. I would like to suggest that Harry and Meghan, it's a bit like criticising the police force. I often criticise the Met Police. My uncle was a commissioner in the Met Police. Doesn't mean that I don't believe in having a police force. You can criticise the monarchy and say, here are the fault lines, and do it clumsily.
But why would they want to inflict on their children royal titles that make them part of the royal family worldwide and expose them to the misery and pain and trauma which Harry tells us he suffers on an hourly basis, normally for large cheques, by the way?
Because isn't it very clear they've left the rigid institution?
Yes, so why do they want the titles?
Institution, and they're going, and they've got monarchy light, Atlantic style. That's what they've done.
Why do they want the titles? I don't understand.
Well, exactly. You do understand. You
Tell me why.
Well, a couple of reasons. One is, there's cachet.
Oh,
the
cash,
the
you mean?
pricelessness.
There's cash.
Yeah, in
There's
the
cash
slippery world.
and cash.
Oh, come on, Piers.
Because
In
we
the
all know Harry and Meghan, as Harry and Meghan, would be making a lot less money if they weren't the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, which goes on every statement they ever make.
I just want to share something with Michael and Russell, and this is an epiphany I had today when thinking about Piers. I do occasionally think about you off screen.
I bet you never stop.
I've come to the conclusion that although you sit there night after night professing to be a monarchist, you're not deep down.
I am.
No, because the whole point is, with the system of hereditary monarchy, you can't choose the loons and losers that get born with the right to be princess and prince. No, you can't choose them.
Michael
no,
Cole.
you can't.
Michael Cole.
It's all very odd. It's pick and mix, isn't it? We want the trappings.
Yes,
we want the
it's royal cake and eat
We
it.
don't want the duty. We don't want the hard work. This is all very, very odd because legally they became, Archie and Lilibet, became Prince and Princess. At the moment, Her Majesty the Queen died on the 8th of September and King Charles took over. Because by the lattice patent drawn by King George V in 1917, grandchildren of a reigning monarch become automatically Prince and
this
Princess.
was what Meghan Markle was struggling to remember in her Oprah Wine-a-thon when she claimed the only reason Archie hadn't been already made a prince was because of his skin colour.
They've left the rigid institution. Very rigid. But they love the title. So is the title not rigid as well? Oh, the title is not rigid. It is fancy. It clears way for them, paves way for them. So you know, you left them anyways. You threw them under the bus, embarrassed them anyways. But you still want the title. The title that, the royal family which is racist, but you want the title, the racist title. Woo! Interesting. But it is their truth. Okay. They think is their truth. I've forgotten that part. But this was interesting for some of the clips that Piers Morgan talked about the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Do you think if they were just Prince Harry and Meghan Markle without the Duke and the Duchess or Sussex, do you think they would have the seat at the table? Of course, no. Prince Harry would have the seat at the table, of course. They will still have a seat at the table because he still has his prince title or he's still a prince. Cannot be taken away. That way, he would be, he and her, she would always, they will still have it. They will still have it. Or they will still have the benefits and all of that because obviously she married a prince. She married a prince. And she loved the spotlight, which is very interesting or quite interesting. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment down below regarding all of the clips shown here. I would really love your thoughts in the comment down below. You can share all the useful information you think might be really helpful. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and all of that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next